Who wants to be the next Italian wine ambassador? Join an exclusive network of 400 Italian wine ambassadors across 48 countries. Vinitaly International Academy is coming to Chicago on October 19th to 21st, and to Almaty, Kazakhstan from November 16th to 18th. Don't miss out. Register now at vinitaly.com.
Welcome to this special Italian wine podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hello everyone, welcome to Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner on Italian Wine Podcast. This is our 155th episode so far. I am Laika Caparas and I am the producer of Italian Wine Podcast, and I am introducing our Italian Wine Ambassador, Stacey, on behalf of Stevie because she is now on a meeting today. Hi Stacey, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, before we proceed, I wanted to actually introduce you to our audience today. There's not much people in the room, but people from around the world, they'll listen to Italian Wine Podcast, Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner, because now it's a time zone that's fitting for US side, also for Italian side, but not in Asia. Yes, it's recorded and it will be up on Italian Podcast. Stacey has been working in the restaurant industry for about 20 years. And after nurturing her passion for wine, she became a certified sommelier with the Court of Master Sommeliers a few years ago. So since 2017, she has been dedicating herself to the study of Italian wine from all sides, from the history and tradition to the climate struggles and consumer preferences. She now also holds the title of Italian Wine Ambassador and Italian Wine Scholar. Her goal is to work in Italy and to help share her passion for these amazing wines, but common and obscure, with as many people as possible. So I'm kind of curious, why did you specifically choose just Italian wine? Or did you have some other preferences like French wine or Portuguese wine, so on?
So working in the industry for so many years, I was able to try a lot of wines from all around the world. And it wasn't until I was studying to become a certified sommelier that I met a friend of mine who had worked in northern Piemonte and had helped work on a little small family vineyard and did a harvest with them for a few weeks. So he set me up with them, and I got the opportunity to go on to Italy for the first time, and this was in 2017. And that was pretty much the turning point for me when I started falling in love with the countryside, with the wine, the culture, the food, and I pretty much just took it on from there. My preference on wine personally as well. I mean, I don't think that any other region quite encapsulates the culture of wine that Italy does.
You're very lucky to start your wine experience with, for the harvesting in Piemonte. It's really, I guess, the best region to go to because there's a lot of wineries around and it's really the Barolo and Barbaresco and so on. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Now that we have, you're doing your first Clubhouse with us. So tell us why.
I am.
Yeah, why did you select Alessandro Griccioli as your favorite producer for this first Clubhouse?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to be in Italy last fall, and I was first introduced to the wines of Monte Chiaro. Winemaking at the estate has been around for hundreds of years at Monte Chiaro. However, Alessandro basically began it in 2005, created kind of the boutique family wines. And to me, the wine itself is really true expressions of the land and for the passion that creates them. He does both the classic wines, so the Chianti, the Brunello, the Sangiovese-based wines that you'd expect from the Tuscan region. But he also creates some kind of unexpected blends that he does as well that are very unexpected and very crowd-pleasing, in my opinion. And I do appreciate the boldness that wine producers have right now to kind of create wines off of things that are not expected.
Right. And when you visited him, was it also the first time you tasted his wines?
It was. And I actually did not meet Alessandro until a video chat a few months after I went.
Okay. So tell us about your discovery of the wines of Monte Chiaro Winery.
Oh, of course. So like I said, last fall, I was out there for about 3 months. I was studying the language and the culture of the Tuscan region. I was in Montepulciano, actually, and I was attending an Italian school there, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And my last few days, I was going to spend in Siena, then Firenze, and then come home. Okay. And while kind of going around the town of Siena, I found I think it was just an article or a brochure about Monteriggione, which is the small little commune on the top of the hill, and it has towers surrounding it, and it almost looks like a crown on the top of the hill. And it's infamously mentioned in Dante's Inferno. That seemed really cool to me. And I went to the town and wandered around for the day and had lunch. And naturally, I stopped at the Enoteca that was in town because as a wine lover, what else would you do? Right. And they were the ones that produced the Monte Chiaro wines. So that was my first experience with them. And I met a sommelier named Maurizio who worked there. He humored me by letting me attempt my Italian, which was fantastic. While looking through the brochure, I actually saw that they had horseback riding. Right. And it's something that I've always wanted to do. As a tourist in the Tuscan countryside, what else would you want to do than go horseback riding through an Italian vineyard?
Right, yeah. That's a nice experience.
Yeah, so I booked it, and the next day I went down, and I got the opportunity to go horseback riding. So I met Alessandro's fiance, who is wonderful, and Sela, who is the head of the wine program there. And now I'm actually going out there in a few days, and I'm going to work with them for the rest of the season. So I'm very excited.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so now we have our Italian wine ambassadors listening in. Can you tell us what are the learning objectives that we should be expecting from this interview?
Yeah, so one of the main things I really am curious about myself, and I'm guessing some of the other ambassadors might be as well, is about new vineyard selection and management. Alessandro just planted a new vineyard outside of Monteriggione, so I have some questions about that. He is also organic. Everything's organic there since 2010. So a little bit of on the organic farming difficulties, things with climate change and how all of that kind of fits together right now. And also the connection that he has with the community, both local and international. He does some great labels with a local artist. And then, like I said, I'm going out there in a couple of days to help him with the rest of the season. So he definitely has an ability to allow the international community to interact with him as well.
Before I meet myself, I want to give a few shout outs to some of our ambassadors here. We have Cynthia. She's also our host for Voices. We have Hugh Priest, Patty. Hi, Patty, Elena. And then earlier we also had Alicia Barrera and also Marco Albanese. So yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to mute myself and you can start your show with Alessandro.
Okay, thank you. All right. Ciao, Alessandro.
Ciao. How are you?
It's your turn now. You're going to be put on the spot. So a little bit, I'll introduce Alessandro. He's been dedicated winemaker at Monte Chiaro Estate Chianti Organic Farming since 2005, as I said. He's very passionate about crafting exceptional organic wines, and he combines his love for food and photography to capture the essence of his work with the beauty of the Tuscan landscape. He also collaborates with the Laica brand. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Okay, thank you. Conducting workshops with renowned masters. And on his estate, Alessandro offers hospitality, horseback riding, truffle hunting, and fine dining, combining his love for food and winemaking to create an unforgettable experience. So I would like to just introduce to you a little bit. Is there anything else that I have missed or anything you want to say about Monte Chiaro that I did not mention?
First of all, I was pretty impressed how well my surname was pronounced by Laica. So congratulations, because everybody is like making it wrong, but Alessandro Griccioli is perfect. And you said it very well. And second, I want to thank Laica and you to be in this Ambassadors Corner. So I'm very happy today to share Montechiaro, my vision as a winemaker, and also the Montechiaro history to this channel, which I found very nice. And I really hope all the Italian wine lovers will find it very interesting, and they may also come and visit us. We are very close to Siena town. We are in the middle of the Chianti Classico region, and definitely is a beautiful place. So we do a lot of hospitality. Siena is such an incredible medieval town. We will have the most famous horse race in the world, the Palio, at the 2nd and August 16th every year. So, we've got a lot of visitors, but also it's a very authentic place. We will talk a lot about the history of the place, which was already existing in the Middle Age. As mentioned, Dante Inferno. So I think that culture, history, what makes Italian is the plus of the Italian wineries. So we really want to make the best Italian wines, but also we are immersed on a great history.
Yes, you definitely are that. I'm going to kind of jump right into it because the first question that I have is actually about the winery and the history of it. You do create wines on the land that your family, as I understand, has owned for hundreds of years. However, you're not using your family's name, which is quite atypical for Italian winemakers. They usually continue on with like the family estate wines. So can you tell me about how the name Montechiaro came about, including why do you use the 345 on your labels?
This is a very good question. So Tenuta Montechiaro Estate is there since 1760. And I think that like in Burgundy, the French teach us that the most important factor is the place. So like more than, I think that families can go and stay and go. But I think what really should depict a wine is the place. In fact, the wine is true that it's a result of the man work, but at the same time, the most important factor is the terroir, so the soil, the place, the history of the place. So I think that Montechiaro, I want people to remember Montechiaro at first, and secondly, our family, but as I already said, Montechiaro is really the most important brand. Our brand is Montechiaro, which is the place, but also Terre della Grigia is, if you like, is the umbrella brand, and Grigia is the old name of our family. We have the main Chianti label is called 345, and 345 stands for 1345, which was the date of birth of the ancestor of the Griccioli family. So tracking back in our family tree, we can go until 1345 with documents. And so 345 was a nice way to talk about the history of the family, but in a modern way. So we've got a big label, with a big 345, which is the year of the Lord 345. So the numbers and art and wines are more and more connected, and so 345 are our lucky numbers.
I love that because it kind of includes the land, like you said, which of course is so important to grapes in general, but then it has that little nod to the family as well. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And on top of that, so one of my biggest questions for you, which I think we might spend a lot of time on, is your area in Monteriggioni. So my first question is, how did you come up about making that Enoteca? Did you already have that place in mind, or was it something that you have throughout the family throughout the years? How did you land on Monteriggioni?
For all the friends that already came to Italy, the beauty of the region are the ancient medieval villages and castles. Mm-hmm. So Tuscany, but all over Italy. But if you're just talking about Tuscany, we've got plenty of those incredible places where history left a lot of traces, very visible, very tangible traces. And other examples can be like Montepulciano, San Gimignano, mm-hmm. Montalcino. Monteriggioni is a walled castle. It's such a beauty because it's on top of a hill, And is this wall castle, they are the best preserved European walls. Because what you see right now is the same walls that you had at the foundation of the castle of Monteriggioni, which was created in 1213, which means 800 years. And that was a wall castle which was the latest defense of the Siena Republic against Florence. Florence and Siena were always big enemies. So we've got 1,000 years of rivalry and battles and wars between the two, Siena and Florence. Today in football, we are still big rivals.
Of course.
And so my family wrote part of the history of the castle because some ancestors bought the castle in 1720. And from that moment, so we still have some ownership inside and outside, not much, unfortunately. But we have a beautiful palace where we rent beautiful rooms. So for future visitors, it's a really nice place to come and spend a great holiday. And also I put my wine shop there. It's such a special, unique place. And imagine it's pretty big. There are 55 people living inside the castle, and has a shape which really remembers the castles you had. I mean, the perfect medieval castle. It was used in Assassin's Creed video game. So the young people, they would remember or know it because it's even in Assassin's Creed.
Wow, I did not know that.
And also the soil there is pretty special. So it's an interesting wine place as well. But we are still on the Chianti region, so it's one of the many attractions you can see around. We are very close to Siena. We are 15 minutes to Siena, so just in the middle of the castle, where already there are 4 restaurants, there are 5 bars and ice cream corners. So it's a place with a lot of activities. And to set up our wine shop there, it was a dream. It's a dream come true. It's the place where we can offer to the world our wines. And we also have some food. So we pair the wines with a lot of really nice cold cuts and tartare, a selection of cheese. So it's a really nice place to also have the time to indulge and explain our wines in this beautiful scenario. So it's a marvelous place and a great privilege to own a wine bar inside that castle.
Wonderful. And I can attest to that. It's a great place to sit and have a few glasses of wine and enjoy some food. It was quite an enjoyable day that I spent there for sure. So I can understand the passion that you have to have a place like that. It's beautiful.
There are a lot of presents, so I definitely won't believe to go to anything like this. But many people that can feel some presence, they reported that some energy is felt because imagine so much history, so many is the battlefields of so many wars, and it was always a military place. And so also I just like to say that there is a very special energy there, which is something positive. I mean,
yes, it is a little like haunting to kind of walk around in a place like that because again the history is pretty significant, but it's a cool feeling. I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool.
And so I know you just planted a new vineyard out there. Is that something why did you pick that area? Is there a specific plot of land that you've been having your eye on for a while, or is it something that fell into your lap? How did you find this piece of land that you just obtained?
There is another castle called Castiglione Garibaldi, another piece of history which is much smaller. And around that little castle, there was another vineyard which is around 10 acres. So small, but not that small. And an uncle of my father used to make some bulk wine. And, it's like the movie Queen Perdue. So it's like a little place which was pretty unknown and also undiscovered. And I remember that some wine was made there, and until 20 years ago. So a little dream of myself was to reestablish and to plant a new vineyard there, because I knew that was something special. And so I asked a great French winemaker from Bordeaux, Xavier Chaunet. Is one of the most renowned winemaker, and especially studying the soil. Denis de Bourdieu alumno, and so he's been studying with him in the University of Bordeaux, and one of the most brilliant students. And with Xavier in 2009, we conducted a study. So we digged on 3 layers on the ground, studying this soil. And he discovered that this soil is very, very remarkably good for wine. So because he said it's like Chateau Petrus, it's like the same structure in terms of soil. Then, of course, to make a good wine, the soil is just one of the many, many factors. But I had this dream in mind, and finally this year I made this new vineyard, which is 4 hectares. It is a baby vine, so it's a just planted vineyard. I made 80% Sangiovese grape and 20% Merlot grape. And this is going to be the new Super Tuscan at Castiglione Garibaldi. So it's a new project. The location of the vineyard is in front, is facing the castle of Monteriggioni. Is a stunning, beautiful position, and also is close to this castle, which belonged to my family since the 1800s. And the next chapter is to restore this castle, which has a wonderful underground cellar. And so it's a brand new project, and I can't wait to have it working. And maybe I hope to being able as a winemaker to give birth to an exciting new Super Tuscan wine, which can be drunk and appreciated by all over the world.
That's wonderful. Now, your Super Tuscan that you have now, if I remember correctly, is 100% Sangiovese. Do you have any other Merlots planted on any of your vineyards, or are these the first vines that you have planted to Merlot?
It's my first time. I studied in Bordeaux back in 2004, 2005. That was my educational field, and also my love. So I really love Bordeaux as a town, but also the atmosphere as a student was incredible. And also Bordeaux and Burgundy wines are probably some of my favorite. And I always planted Sangiovese and valorized local Tuscan varieties, because I thought that, Merlot, Cabernet, you find splendid. I think that to manage in the way I wanted, like Bordeaux style, I needed more practice and experience. And I felt that now, after 20 years of experience as a winemaker, I'm really able to valorize any kind of grapes. And this project with Merlot is new, as it intrigues me very much. So it will be 50% Sangiovese and 50% Merlot in the new blend of the Super Tuscan. But it's the first time I'm making this blend, and previously I've been only valorizing Sangiovese 100% and also Tempranillo 100%. So I can wait. It's you need 5 years time, and 3 years to produce and 5 years to have a full production. But the winemaker is very patient, so you
have to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Was it your choice to put the grapes there? Is that something that you knew you wanted to plant there, or did you wait until you kind of looked at the soil and did some investigating to find out that was going to grow the best there?
I was encouraged by my friend winemaker Xavier Chaunet, saying this is really Petrus, Pomerol kind of style. Okay. So he said plant some Merlot and it should turn very, very well. And also I had many years, because the study was conducted in 2009. I'm just planting now in 2024. So there were many years I could really study the rootstock and everything. So also the disposal of the rows, because it's not an easy hill. So they were disposed in two different ways, and also the water management. So I really made a vineyard which is pretty, mature and a lot of study behind. So it's I can't wait to have that bottle in my hands.
It's going to take some patience for sure. You got a long time to wait.
Yeah.
But at least you've taken that step into the right direction to get where you want to be, which is so exciting.
Yeah, I started everything because 2005 is when I started bottling Monte Chiaro wines. But before me, there are centuries of winemaking, bulk wine, very traditional. So imagine that I started my adventure in the wine world. I started very young, and the really beginning, there was a lot of trying. So right now, I'm really feeling that I've got the experience, I've got the expertise to make something new, something very exciting.
That's great. And I think you're a really good example to kind of let everyone know the kind of patience and the kind of passion that it takes in order to get to where you want to be. It's not something that's going to happen in a year or two. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of hard work.
Yeah, in fact, making wine for fun is possible, of course, but I think it's an achievement of a lifestyle of many, many years of desiring, studying, tasting other people's wines. So it's pretty exciting. So, I mean, it's not something you do quickly. I mean, a lot of people, they're making wine for fun. I fully respect, and it's possible, of course. But I think that also I always felt the responsibility to pay tribute to the people before me. Because if you're talking about an estate who was there in 1760, so many generations, they've been working so hard, and I really pay tribute. And I've been lucky to be born as a children within those sharecroppers family. And those families, they really gave all their lives for the place, for the countryside, for the winery, and I love to remember them. And also my work is, I hope to bring along a great tradition, which is also theirs.
Yeah, and someone like me who has a passion for the Italian wine world in general, that's something that I appreciate more than anything, is especially about Italian wine, is the connection to tradition that is there. It's not something that, has been started 50, 100 years ago. This is something that's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. And to be able to encapsulate that into a bottle is really cool. Yeah. And I appreciate you for doing that because it makes for great wine too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. On the same side of maintaining vineyards, I know that you've been organic for a significant amount of time. You're looking on almost 15 years, I believe, right?
Yes, it's 2010.
Yeah. Is that a choice just to maintain the integrity of fruit, or why do you choose to be an organic winery?
I have an agronomist consultant who really insisted me to switch into organic, and he's advising around 100 organic wineries. It's a life change. It's much more challenging. You need to adapt your work. So all your the people working in the fields, in the vineyards, the machinery, the tractors, everything must be adapted to organic farming. And it's very challenging, as I said. It's every year is quite a challenge, but at the same time, it's the great satisfaction to use only natural things, only manure, algae, and there are many other organic products. But I mean, the pollution created by chemicals is incredible. And so, I mean, I also believe in the very long timing of the operation. So let's say in 50 years' time, in 100 years' time, you don't introduce any chemical products. And so definitely you contribute to a better world and a healthier world. So I firmly believe in it. Also, I really like the fact that the wines, they have a minimum of sulfites, and it's really true, and that you don't feel headache after drinking 2, 3, 4 glasses. And this is something I'm experiencing now, getting older, which I cannot stand anymore wines with tons of sulfites that really make you a terrible headache. I'm getting more and more sensitive myself. So I think organic farming is a necessity and is a fight as well against many praising factors, insects and fungus, and really great every year to win this battle and to remain organic. So I think is a great value also for any kind of food, but especially for wine. Is really, I repeat, it's very challenging, but I'm very pleased that I had switched. Imagine that last year, 2023, all over Italy was pretty tragic. While this year, 2024, so far grapes are some of the most beautiful I've never seen. But 2023 was pretty tragic. We lost 90% of the production. We only produced white, rosé, and the entry-level Chianti and nothing else. And this is why the mildew that was created by heavy rain for 3 months, we got the wettest spring ever. And that was a big learning curve. It was a big learning curve. And in fact, I've been adapting. I've been even hiring more specialized people. I've been investing in machinery. And I've been taking everything more seriously. And this is just to say that organic farming is really challenging and to an extreme, but it really, this problem helped me to interpret the nature even in more serious way. And I have to say that I'm still I'm very happy to be organic.
And I think it's important to be organic. And my family we have a very long history in the nursery business and in horticulture. So I definitely can appreciate what being organic can mean and not using chemicals and pesticides and all these other things and sticking with what has been on the land for hundreds of years and kind of letting it do what it's supposed to do. So I definitely appreciate that. I know it can't be easy to do at such a large scale. So
you need to plan everything. You need to anticipate what is going to happen. So you really need to know your vineyard. You really need to know all the operation. It's not just that you make some works in a schedule. You need to anticipate and understanding very well whatever you are doing. This is why I need expertise. I need expert like tractor drivers, all the team working in the fields. They know what they're doing. And so, which means it's even a cultural thing. So you need people who are prepared and they love what they're doing because they know that and they know it very well.
Yeah, you need people that are as passionate about it as you are. Otherwise, you won't be happy with what's going on.
Yeah, but also you can have bad results. So I think, everything we're talking about is what you find in the final bottle. So you are really tasting a passion of a great work, the fruit of a very passionate work, and this is very important. And I think when you're sipping an organic wine, there's even more commitment and passion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's more appreciation from the drinker, I think, as well. And it creates such a beautiful, I think it allows the grape to really express itself, which is another reason why I'm such a fan of the old world style of creating wines, where it just really lets the grape do what it's meant to do. And I love that.
Yeah.
So along those lines as well, one of my biggest concerns, as I'm sure most people's are, is how climate change is affecting the wine industry. In your vineyards in particular, are there things that are changing that you're noticing? Are the maturation changing with the grapes, or are things not working the way that they used to? What kind of things are you seeing in your vineyards that are because of the changing climate and how hot and rainy it's been?
Yeah, the two big constraints from the global warming, I think, are the first is the tropicalization, which leads to heavy rains. So we didn't have such an intense rainy season. It was you could have some fresh springs and more or less fresh winters, But like last year and even this year, we got a lot of rain at the beginning of the season. So tropicalization, more tropical, more. So you've got like heavy rain, and this is something new we didn't experience before. The second one is the drought, which is a little the contrary of the first factor. So in the recent years, we had a lot of very, very warm summers, and temperature really rise. The climate got some temperatures which were unknown before. So those two extremes must be managed, and I think observation. So everybody now has meteorological stations. So we need to be good collecting data, understanding them, and finding solutions, which are machineries. The time of intervention is key, and you really need to be more and more able. I remember in the old times we were not organic, and there was a calendar of chemical treatments which were given by the dates. It was just a calendar. So we really didn't care about what was happening around. We just treated, and that was sufficient to have a perfect season. And now is the contrary. Every week we must observe, we must be in the vineyards, understanding what is going on. And there's nothing we can do but preventing. Every rain is infectious. So every time it rains, you have an infections going on of the main fungus, and you need to prevent. You need to spray what you can in organic farming to extinguish, those fungus. And so is a battle. Also, there are some insects which are really affecting, and you need to observe them, understanding how the reproduction cycles of those insects are going on during the season. And mainly I don't think if your question also includes like if climate changes are affecting the wines, I think it's affecting the organization of the farming. But then today wines are like in the past, wines were following trends. And now is more the ability of the winery to make the best possible wines. I think, the trends are going toward very fruity, easy drinking, wines which also has structure, nice acidity, refreshing, very long palate. I think this is, you can find even in great Californian cabs or wines which historically were matured in a lot of oak. But everything's now is getting more and more fruity. And I don't think there will be more trends heavily affecting. So I don't think the weather is affecting the wines which are like more alcoholic or more robust. I think today we have instruments where you must to select the best grapes, and you must to lead to a really high quality without being without having to follow trends or styles. I think today we are talking about the proper winery style, which is the most important factor.
Right. And a lot, being in the Tuscan region, of course, the majority of your varieties that you've planted are Sangiovese. Yes. Are you seeing a difference in the way Sangiovese is reacting to the climate?
Yeah, Sangiovese is very sensitive to the climate. Mm-hmm. And for example, you're mentioning Brunello di Montalcino. The best Brunellos are connected with the highest altitude. So you've got, for example, Montechiaro is 300 meters on top of the sea level, but you have some wineries who are 500. I think the most extreme is 500 meters. Altitude makes a great role of bringing out the most refreshing and nicest perfumes. So this is one of the factors. Also against the disease and also against the drought. So altitude is pretty important, like the aspects and the soil composition. Sangiovese is so sensitive that you don't have the same quality that you find in Tuscany anywhere in the world. I think Sangiovese, you have very nice mass-produced wines, even nice wines in small quantity. Some very high-end wines, but you don't reach the same results as you do in Tuscany. This is because the soil, the terroir, is so unique there. And so my duty to valorize as much as possible the Sangiovese grapes in different shapes, because our rosé with Sangiovese is so joyful and easy to drink. Then we've got the entry level, is so refreshing, fruity, long. And then we've got the cruise, the best wines, the Brunello, the Super Tuscans, made with Sangiovese. And Sangiovese, is outstanding. I think for wine lovers, like Pinot Noir, like any great noble grape, Sangiovese is an entire world. It's so special, but you need to know it. It's not. I don't think it's the most immediate. It's not like a Merlot, which is so soft and easy to drink. Sangiovese, you need to know a little bit. It's a little more dry, and tannins can be firm. But Sangiovese is an entire world, and how well Sangiovese can age. And I'm a Sangiovese producer. I'm a Sangiovese lover. There are so many different kinds. So for a sommelier is a magical word. It's like for Pinot Noir in Burgundy. So coming here to discover so many different Chianti region, Chianti there is a great zonation, and there's so much to study about Sangiovese. And I hope you are also coming here. Also will be very special to you also to understand more this incredible world of the Sangiovese grapes and wines.
That's what I'm hoping for. Do you think that with the way that things are going with Sangiovese, being that Chianti and Brunello and even Vino Noble, they don't leave a lot of room for adjustment in the varieties and the blends that you create? Do you think that at some point the Disciplinare may alter a little bit in order to allow other blends? Or do you think that there's enough production still to maintain what has been around for so long?
But I think that the trend now is to make pure Sangiovese, because before, that the original Chianti recipe was to blend Sangiovese with other stuff, some white wine to increase in age the refreshing palate, and for example, you had Colorino to enhance the color, etc. I think with the modern techniques, with the sorting the grapes, with the pruning, with the concentrating the grapes as well, you can lead to Sangiovese which are very complete. They are perfect, complete wines. So I think the trend is not really much blending, but make 100%. Also, I don't think, the products, you can develop taste and elegance just with the grapes we have. I would be open. I love to experiment. For example, I valorized a special kind of Tempranillo at the winery with a local name which is Malvasia, but in fact it's Tempranillo, and it's such a special wine. So I'm very open to create and to bring inside the winery profile something new. So I love to be a classic producer, but also love to create something new and very special. Like for example, the white we make. So I think in the industry, and we are talking about small boutique organic wineries. We are not talking about mass-produced wines, which would be a completely different, argument. But talking about small producers, there's always space for classic wine production. You want always to be faithful to your origins, and there is a little bit of space for creating something new. And in general, I don't think this is the moment to create too many new products. I think it's the moment to be constant and to really make perfect Sangiovese wines. And I also think that the consumers, I mean, of course, rosé, for example, has been rising a lot, but I think consistency is the word I was looking for. Now it's time also, I think, fine wines all over the world has been produced since 50 years, more or less. And I think now it's time for consistency, and also the styles are pretty mature and solid.
Right. And I'm glad that you mentioned your white, because it's kind of a little segue into what I want to talk about next is your Arte Liquida collection, because you do kind of create something a little bit different, but still with great expression. So can you talk a little bit about how that became a collection for you?
Arte Liquida, which means liquid art, is a project where I involved an artist, basically, to make my most creative wines. And that was a very, juvenile, when I was very, very young. So it was an idea which was mixing a little bit of branding, passion, craziness, So it was the really start. But I think that project now is the one I like the most. And also the artist, she has become an important artist in Italy, more and more matured. And together was a history of a great friendship. And everything started so naturally. So it wasn't like the result of studies, it wasn't like something academical or marketing oriented. It just happened. So we met. Her name is Eugenia Vanni. She's a great artist, and she's exhibiting all over Europe, and I love her very much. And so the project started in 2006. So right when I was moving my first steps in the wine world, and I immediately thought that I had to create something completely new, and also was a way to express myself. So I always thought that making Chianti was important, but on the side, I made this Arte Liquida project, and we make 3 products. One is the white, Arte Liquida White, and Arte Liquida White is a vision of 4 grapes. I'm the only one blending them together, and you've got the French Viognier and another variety called Manzoni, which is a cross between Riesling and Pinot Blanc. So with those 2, I really wanted to bring a lot of perfumes. I really want to enrich the nose of those wines as much as possible. And then I blend with 2 traditional Tuscan white grapes, which are Trebbiano and Malvasia. So we've got 4 grapes, Viognier, Manzoni, Trebbiano, and Malvasia, which gives structure, refreshing, acidity, a great body. So I want a wine which is so refreshing, complex, at the same time easy to drink. These are the Arte Liquida Bianco, and the artist created a bottle reverse, which makes a glass. So very simple, but at the same time very iconic, and I think it's still my favorite wine. More and more I'm drinking whites, and more I'm a white lover, and this is really the wine. And still I feel I really want to reach a peak of quality, and I feel I'm halfway. So I've got a lot of motivation to continue this project. On the other side, Arte Liquida Rosso, the red, is this black Malvasia Tempranillo, which has a funny story behind. In 2002, before me, an old manager planted some Malvasia Nera, but he didn't care about writing Malvasia Nera, and he wrote that the grape were Sangiovese, and that was not legal, because you cannot write on official records another variety. And it was me discovering that these grapes were not Sangiovese. The taste, the perfumes, the spiciness were completely different than Sangiovese grapes. And so I made this discovery. I valorized. I even call important professors to understand, to guess what this variety could be. So it was a little national anathema to understanding, to guessing what it was, because it was so unusual to have a winery asking for, which grape do we have? And finally, the DNA said that these grapes were Tempranillo, and in fact, some analyses have been demonstrating that Sangiovese, Malvasia Nera, which is a very old local variety, and Tempranillo, they were matching their DNA. So it's a little discovery in the wine world, and I decided to make a red dedicated to this story. And on the label, the artist put a moon, which is very, very beautiful and very evocative of what the old sharecroppers' world was about, because the people used to make wine through the moon calendar. And also the wine is so special, so spicy, full of beautiful hints of chocolate, and is really nice. And then the third product, which is entitled Arte Liquida, is the grappa. Is our distilled grappa, which is pretty interesting. It's the only spirit made out of the Malvasia Nera grape skins. And there is another piece of art, which I don't describe, but I invite everybody to come and taste.
That is pretty awesome. I had no idea that was the story behind it. I remember when I was at the Cantina in Monteregione, I saw the Arte Liquida Rosso, and I was like, I have to try it, because you're in the Tuscan region drinking 100% Tempranillo, and it just seems almost wrong to do. So I was like, well, I have to try it. And it was delicious. It's not exactly what you'd expect from a Tempranillo, but especially sitting in that town, sipping on it, it was beautiful pairing.
Yeah, because you got the peppery notes, chocolate, pepper, and black fruits, but with the very refreshing, Sangiovese vibe, which means more acidity, tannins a little more, so very, very different than Spain. But for example, surprisingly, in connecting with the previous question, Tempranillo resists so well to drought. So I think when we've got drought is the best grape to resist. And so, that's also is connected. So drought and climate change, one of the response could be to plant something different, like Tempranillo in Italy. But I think that every winery is making his own special products, and I think that Sangiovese is and remain the great protagonist of our area.
Right. Something else that I wanted to touch on briefly, being that I've already mentioned that I am coming out to work with you for a few months here coming up. I obviously greatly appreciate your willingness to kind of open up the winery to those internationally who want to experience more about the wine and the culture and everything in the region. Why do you put an emphasis on that? Because I know that there's many people that do this with you.
But this is also my story, It's also my story because I'm also been an international student. And also I think that, learning wine and working in the wine industry must be something where your mind is open to any kind of international experience. I think wine is also synonymous of geography and history, and I feel that it's so important for a professional to be a sommelier, but also to be traveling, exploring, understanding the culture of the people that they're making the wine. So I myself have been working in some wineries abroad in France, and also I always had some interns, and I also always allowed people from abroad to come to the winery and help and really being submersed by our culture, by our history. And I think we are in touch with many of them. Since 2007, I always participated to international students program. So we've been hiring and having intern. And for example, now at the winery, I have an Australian hospitality manager. In the past, for many years, I had a French Bordeaux-born lady. So I think the wine speaks an international language, and that's for sure. And also to have at the same time local and international people is absolutely special. Also, the international vibe can really, push the other local people to be more open minds. And I think that the wine producers who only have been tasting their own wines all their life, they're missing like the understanding of what the people like in general. So it's important to be very much in his own roots, but it's so important at the same time to know other people's minds and to have been traveling all around. I've been learning so much from the other producers all around the world, and I think it's such a cultural plus,
Yeah, traveling always makes such a big difference to your entire experience of life. Knowing what other people are doing and experiencing other areas it's life-changing. I travel as much as I can just for that reason. You can't stay in one place for too long.
Yes, exactly.
So I know we're getting close to the hour, but I wanted to ask you, other than I know you have your Super Tuscan project in the works over the next few years, but what else do you have? Like, what's your vision for the winery in the next 5 or 10 years? What are you looking to have happen? What are your goals?
As for many other stuff, kind of COVID was a point where I think I woke up and I understood that I was more grown up. And I from that point, 2020, I said to myself, now it's time to grow rapidly. I'm not a student anymore. I'm not learning. I mean, you keep learning always, but also I really found that it was time to move quickly and to really become a professional, able to make great wine. So I speed up my investments and also speed up my, the dream to make really good wines. And now I'm working more, and I see myself from this moment on a second phase, if you like. There was the first phase, first 20 years. I will make my first harvesting was 2006. So 2026 will be 20 years. But I feel the first 20 years are almost over. And in those 20 years, I've been really learning how to make wine in the best possible way. But the next 20 years must be really the confirm and the improval. And I also want to make this new project with the Super Tuscan. So we must to create a wine which can really inebriate the wine lovers' palates and really get significant ratings and high points. We got some 94, but I really want to make some 96. Why not even more? So it will be the maturity time, and it's nice to connect your own life with the winery life, because wines are like children.
There you go. I haven't heard it quite put like that before. It makes sense.
Yeah. And it's nice to start pretty young to produce wines like full treated, so you can really infuse all your own style and everything you can.
Perfect. Well, I know we hit the 12:30 mark, so is there anything else that you would like from us?
It's already time, so I have to close up the room quickly. But before I close up, I would really like to thank you guys for being here on Clubhouse and for doing this interview. I like the insights and the reflections as well that came up from this conversation, as well as how your creativity, Alessandra, you've given much of your creativity for the winemaking and also for the wine labels and so on. So that's pretty amazing. So before I close up the room, I want to mention that next week on July 23, we have Anna Obuhovskaya, and she will be interviewing Roberta Bonin from Cantina Carema. So that's it for today, and thank you. Ciao everyone. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao a tutti.
Ciao, ciao. Grazie mille.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.